Fantastic, brilliant. So the time's now 1 minute past 2, so I think we'll get going. For those of you that have never been to one of the Chamber's webinars before, my name is Laura Hodgkiss. I'm the Event and Training Team Leader here at Staffordshire Chamber of Commerce. We cannot see and we cannot hear you today, so the way that you can communicate with us is by the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Sometimes it's at the top, but mostly at the bottom of your screen, and via the Q&A section at the bottom as well. So what I would say is, if you do have any questions today, if you could just make sure that you put them in the Q&A, and that Bethany will try to get around to them as quickly as she possibly can at the end. So our webinar this afternoon is how to build your search engine rankings, and Bethany has kindly offered to do this, and she's from the Netbiz Group. So Bethany, it is over to you.
Thank you, Laura. Hi everyone. Let's try and get the slideshow moving. There we go. So today's talk is on how to build your search engine rankings. I've just got a few contact details there if you wanted to contact me during the event or after. So that's my Twitter handle there, but also the Netbiz Group Twitter handle and website too. As Laura just said, I can't see you and I can't hear you, but if you have got any questions throughout the presentation, if you just put in the Q&A section, I'll get around to them at the end of the presentation. It is a big topic and I've tried to keep it as open and easy to digest as possible. But again, if you've got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. So a bit about me. Apologies for the selfie there. I am the Digital Marketing Manager at Netbiz Group. I joined the team 4 years ago after graduating from Keele University with a first in History and Media Communications and Culture. And upon graduating, I wasn't quite sure exactly which route I wanted to go down. It was either teaching or digital marketing. And 4 years in, I can safely say I definitely made the right choice for me. During my time with the company, I've been fortunate enough to work on a huge range of projects, from small CMS sites for local businesses to larger e-commerce stores for companies which trade globally. Although I oversee the digital marketing department as a whole, so that's covering SEO, social media, paid advertising and email marketing, SEO remains my main passion. I'm often found browsing the web and following accounts on Twitter looking for the latest industry insights, or I'm counting down to the next SEO conference in the calendar. I should have been going to one in April, but sadly due to the current situation, that's been postponed, but that's a selfie from the last event that I went to. So a bit about Netbiz Group. So the company was founded 15 years ago, and we initially started as a web design company, offering web development. As we took on more clients and the client needs grew, we expanded our services to cover digital marketing and hosting. And today we handle all aspects of web design and development in-house, along with digital marketing and paid advertising, all from our offices in Newcastle-under-Lyme. The team is made up of 20 creative minds. This ranges from tech gurus who dabble in development and hosting, through to marketing experts and our friendly and dedicated sales team. To date, we've built over 1,000 websites, and we also provide hosting and support for over 500 clients, both locally, nationally, and internationally. So what we'll be covering today. Your next customer is out there right now, and they're looking for your products or services. But who will they find first, you or your competition? In this session, we're going to look at the key factors which can contribute to improving your search engine rankings. Broken down, this will cover what is SEO as a beginner's guide, why it's important, how we can understand Google and how it works and how it chooses to rank pages of content, and then how you can improve your own search engine rankings. So there's 3 key factors that we'll be looking at, and this is crawlability, relevance, and authority. So I hope that was a nice overview for everyone. Again, if you've got any questions, please pop them in the Q&A section. So first, we're looking at what is SEO. So in its simplest format, SEO is the art of improving your organic positions within search engine results. So what we mean by organic positions is that in contrast to paid results, so ads, organic results are free and they're listed based on a page's relevance to a search user's query. Organic visitors generally have a specific intent, so if we can get the traffic, they are likely to convert, maybe not in the first click, but if they revisit. We've got a screenshot there just to show you the difference between a paid listing, which is created through pay-per-click, and a bidding system, and organic results, and generally they sit beneath the ads. So even though they're 4 listings down, the organic result there is position 1. So why is SEO important? So recent studies suggest that organic search drives as much as 53% of all website traffic, So that's a huge portion, that's over half. Studies also show that the first 5 organic results in Google account for 68% of clicks. So if you're in a very competitive marketplace, it's hugely important that you get your site above your competitors and as close to position 1 as possible to ensure that you get the click-throughs. SEO can also be a critical part of the buying funnel, leading users to complete a desired conversion or engagement. So this could be purchasing a product, submitting an inquiry, or even subscribing to a newsletter. It depends on what your conversion is. In contrast, pay-per-click and other marketing tactics can send traffic to your website, but as soon as you stop investing time and money into them, that traffic stops. With SEO, it's sustainable if you choose to invest the time and effort into ranking highly for the right search terms and phrases. So that by this, I mean search terms that have a good search volume behind them. So tools that we use on a regular basis include Ahrefs and SEMrush. These can help you to gain valuable insights into search volumes and how difficult it would be to rank for specific terms. This can help you to select search terms which will be the most fruitful in terms of getting a return on investment. Another tool that's also useful is called Google Trends. So this can offer insights into trending topics, showing how popular specific subjects are in Google search. I've got some examples on the next slides to show you what these look like. So here we've got a keyword overview report from a tool called SEMrush. And what we've done basically is we've submitted the term web design company. So what we can see there that is on average, there's a search volume of about almost 2,500 searches per month for that phrase. So for us as a web design company, that's quite a good search term to try and rank highly for. You do get other pieces of information as well. So you can see keyword difficulty. So SEMrush ranks a difficulty out of 0 to 100%, 100 being the hardest, basically. This takes into account various factors, such as how competitive a term is in search, how many backlinks you may need to rank highly, but we'll come on to backlinks later in the presentation. It also gives you an estimated cost on cost per click and how competitive that is within AdWords. And you can also see search volumes globally. So if you're looking to do international SEO, these kind of tools are quite useful. On the far right, you'll see the trend graph, which it doesn't have months assigned, but you can see that each bar represents a different month. So these third-party tools are always collecting data and reflecting on that. And basically you can see any spikes in interest throughout the months within that search term. So linking onto that, we've also got here a screenshot from Google Trends. Now, unrelated to Web Design Company, I've decided to show you an example for the recent Netflix documentary, Tiger King. So that rolled out roughly March time. And you can see there that from up until that point, there was no interest in Google search for this term. Suddenly it's rolled out, people are talking about it, it's gone viral, and you can see that there's been a huge spike on, well, searches completed in Google for Tiger King. Obviously that's quite an abstract example within the entertainment industry. So another example I've got here is the rollout of GDPR in May 2018. So prior to that, there was a little bit of interest growing and people knew it was coming and it was rolling out. And then as soon as it actually rolled out, we had a massive spike of interest. So what this shows us is that people were searching for terms relating to GDPR during that period and still are to some extent. So if you were a legal advisor or you worked in web design, anything digital, you'd probably want to be talking about that topic. So combining Google Trends with any third-party tools such as SEMrush and Ahrefs, you can gain valuable insights into search intent and keyword search volumes. So in summary, an effective SEO strategy can expose your business to a large and constant flow of relevant users, not only maximising your reach, but it will help you to showcase your products and services to a relevant and interested target audience. What I've got here is a quote from a guy called Rand Fishkin, and he founded Moz.com and often shares valuable insights into the world of SEO, both technical and content-based. And I just thought this kind of nailed it in one. And it's every month you don't invest in SEO is a month where your competitors will. And eventually, even if you have a long head start, they'll catch up and surpass you. So you may be ranking high now, but if you stop what you're doing and another competitor starts to invest heavily, there's a chance they could overtake you. So I hope that was a useful mini insight into what SEO is and why it's important. Again, if you've got any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A. Next, we're going to move on to understanding how Google works. So a search engine's primary function, whether it's Bing or Google, is to discover, understand, and organise content to deliver the most relevant results to the questions that people are asking. To do this, Google follows 3 simple steps. So number 1 is crawling. So Google uses bots known as spiders to scour the web for content. These bots then follow links on the pages discovered to find new URLs. So they're essentially crawling through your website. The next stage is indexing. So once new content has been discovered, it is then indexed in a huge database to be retrieved when a user is seeking information. So basically Google adds it to its own folder of knowledge. The third step is the ranking stage. So when someone performs a search, Google scours its index for highly relevant content and then orders it in the hopes of solving the searcher's query. So the first stage is discovering, organising, and then distributing that knowledge. So how does Google rank search results? So Google often tells SEOs and marketeers that there's more to SEO than just keywords, and that's definitely true. To date, there's hundreds of ranking factors out there to consider, but in its broadest sense, the most important factors to focus on include crawlability, relevance, and authority. In short, Google chooses to display links to pages that they consider to be relevant to the query and also authoritative, so they're trustworthy. In the next few slides, we're going to talk through what we mean by crawlability, relevance, and authority. So how to improve your search engine rankings. So starting with crawlability. Before writing any fresh content for your website or running any technical changes, it's hugely important to answer the following questions. So number 1, can Google access the content on your website easily? What we mean by this is, can Google's bots crawl your website? Number 2 is, does the structure of your website's HTML enable Google to understand the topic of the page? So this is hugely important as it's the very first step. As soon as Google starts crawling your website, you want it to be able to make it through as many pages as possible to understand what you offer. So a crawlable website has a clear layout and navigation, a straightforward XML sitemap. So what we mean by XML sitemap is essentially this is a file which acts as a roadmap of your website. So it lists all the key pages that you want Google to look at. The third point is easy to access internal links to each page of content. So you want Google to be able to follow links within your website easily. You don't want them to get stuck or to reach broken links, and you want it to be able to discover every page. Number 4 is correctly formatted and populated HTML. So by this, we mean ensuring that heading tags, for example, are in the correct sequence, meta descriptions are populated. Later on in the presentation, I've got a screenshot just to show you what we mean by meta descriptions. But in short, it's a description about a given page. So all of these bits and bobs combine to help Google to understand your content. Any website that ranks in Google has been crawled, so it is crawlable. Websites with limited crawlability often show the following. They may have a broken or incorrectly formatted sitemap, so Google cannot read it properly. You may have broken internal links, which are not only bad for SEO in the sense that it stops Google from crawling your site in full, but it's also bad from a user point of view. If you were on an e-commerce site and wanted to look at a specific product, but that link was broken, suddenly your journey is broken and interrupted, so you might bounce and go elsewhere. Linking to this, there's also 404 errors. So we've all been on a website before where we've clicked on a link and suddenly the page can't be found. Again, that's not good for SEO, as Google's encountering that error too, but also for a user, there's a high risk that you may go elsewhere. There may also be specific rules within the code of your website which instruct search engines not to crawl or index the site. It's not highly common, but we have come across it before when auditing a website. Number 5, website loading speeds can also impact how much content Google is able to crawl. So when we talk about Google looking at your website and crawling it, the bots will only spend a certain amount of time on your website. We call this crawl budget. So you want to ensure that during that time, they can look at as much content as possible. So loading speeds is hugely important to ensure that Google is able to do that. But also, again, for the end user, a slow journey could result in a bounce. So our recommendations. So recommendations to improve your crawlability. As an initial step, we would advise using free tools such as Screaming Frog to see if your website can be crawled and what pages are being crawled in the process. Tools such as these will also highlight how well optimized your title tags, heading tags, and URLs are. This is just a few examples of the kinds of things that Screaming Frog will show you, but essentially it's a fantastic tool that we use regularly, which gives you a bird's eye view of your website and how Google interprets it. So I've got a screenshot here of a Screaming Frog crawl. So all I've done there is just ran the Screaming Frog website through this. Must emphasize it is free to download with a crawl limit, but you can see here that I've only crawled 8% of the website, as it's quite huge. In the bottom right corner, you can see completed 75 out of 888 pages. So it gives you an idea of how big your website is, but also if it's crawlable. So if we're seeing status code 200 in that middle column, that page is loading, it's working fine, users can reach it and search engines can. You can see if it's indexable, which all those pages are there. And that's the key overview that you're looking at. But along the top menu, you can see other areas that you can click on, such as page titles, meta descriptions, keywords, H1 tags. So essentially, this is an all-in-one tool that allows you to see how much of your website is optimized and any blank spaces that need filling in. I realise this is quite a quick skim over Screaming Frog, but again, if you've got any questions, please pop them in the Q&A section. And now we'll move on to relevance. So this is the second factor in what we perceive and highlight as being the key factors to improve your rankings. So starting with content relevance, basically this is used to indicate how relevant a web page is in relation to a specific search term or topic. So in short, you could have an amazing website with fantastic features and a great backlink profile, but if your content doesn't reference a specific topic, your chances of ranking highly for that term or phrase are quite low. So by this we mean the written word and getting those keywords or phrases into the actual copy. Another area of relevance is backlink relevance. So in addition to ensuring that your copy is relevant in terms of the topics and subject matter, it's also important to ensure that you're naturally gaining links to your website from relevant sources. So the example we've used here is, imagine a website that sells bridal fashion. Now imagine if this gets a link from another website, say a bridal magazine or forum, that link is highly relevant due to the subject nature. Both websites talk about bridal wear and weddings, they're linked. In contrast to this, imagine a link to the bridal site from a website which writes about classic cars. This link does carry some value, but it isn't as helpful because the car site has little knowledge or reference to bridal fashion. It might be talking about car parts or how-tos, it's very much a different industry. In short, the relevance of the linking page and the linking site can impact how valuable a link may be considered. So the aim here is to gain backlinks naturally from relevant sources. For anyone who's not familiar with backlinks, they're also known as inbound links in the industry. And basically they're links from one website to a page on another. In its simplest format, search engines consider backlinks as votes for a specific page. Pages with a high number of quality backlinks tend to have a higher organic search engine ranking. They're almost votes for trustworthiness and an authoritativeness. We struggle to pronounce that. Tools such as Ahrefs and SEMrush can provide you with great reports on your current and historic backlink profile and can help you to monitor progress being made, but also can help you to diagnose any issues. So if you suddenly start to lose backlinks. Got an example here from Ahrefs. So this is for a site and the data dates back to 2014 to the present day. You can see here that generally the trend is on the up. We've got a natural increase there over time. There's some slight dips because you will lose backlinks over time. You don't always have control over the links that you get to your website. If you've got links coming from blogs and suddenly that blog doesn't exist, you'll lose that backlink. But the aim generally is to keep that graph moving naturally up. And these tools are great, as you can see historic data there and also pinpoint any drops. So our recommendations for improving relevance. So really the first steps is define your goals. So what are you looking to achieve online? Think about what conversions you're aiming for. Also understand your audience and how you should communicate with them, what sort of questions they'll be asking and what information they're seeking. We'd also recommend using a free tool such as SEO Quake. So this is a free plugin that anyone can install on Google Chrome. And basically, by running this, you can review the keyword density of any page on your website currently. So it's one click, and then it produces a report which just says the top one word keyword on that page is, for example, web design company. It'll tell you 2 keyword phrases and so on. The recommended keyword density for any piece of content sits between 1.5% and 2.5%, and SEO Quake will give you a percentage for your keywords. We'd also recommend crawling your website using tools such as Screaming Frog to review your heading tags, metadata, and URLs. And at this point, you've got a good standing point. You know what your goals are, you understand your audience, you understand what pages are currently optimized, even if it was unintentionally, and you understand any blanks in your crawl that you need to fill in, such as metadata edits, for example. Next, you need to carefully plan out your content and immediate actions. So ask yourself, what has that site crawl just told you in Screaming Frog? If it is that meta descriptions need populating or they don't feature keywords, then there's an exercise there to go through and optimize them. Perhaps heading tags aren't quite as well optimized as they could be, or maybe URLs aren't keyword friendly. From that crawl, you can pinpoint actions that you need to carry out. And I've got an example on the next slide of just a meta title and description. So there, the bold title, that's the page title. And beneath that, you've got the short sentence which describes that page. So that's our meta description. And you can see that we've got web design company in that, as that's relevant to what we do. Once you've carefully planned out content and immediate actions, you need to put the time and effort into each and every piece that you create. We don't mean just writing a quick blog, it's done, it's 200 words. We mean writing with purpose and direction. So the art of SEO is not only writing for search engines, but also for the end user. So you should be aiming to create rich content that answers questions. It's informative where it needs to be. It's entertaining if it needs to be. Comprehensive content generally ranks better than shorter pieces, and the average first page result on Google contains about 1,400 words. We're not saying that every article or page of content that you create needs to reach that character limit, but this just gives you a good idea of where we're at today in terms of the standards of copy. So it's richer pieces that really, again, have purpose and answer questions. The next part of improving the relevance is focusing on gaining more quality backlinks from relevant sources to strengthen your backlink profile. So that combined with the copy can greatly enhance your level of relevance for a search term or phrase. And there's a metadata example again. So I hope that was a nice overview for everyone and quite useful in terms of relevance. Again, any questions, please feel free to drop them in the question box. Next, we're moving on to authority. So what do we mean by authority in the terms of SEO? So once Google's analysed and understood the content on your website, it then looks at external signals that contribute to validating the authority or trustworthiness, as it were, of a page for a given topic. Google's confirmed many times over the years that backlinks still remain one of the most important search engine ranking factors. You could have the best written copy in the world, but if nobody's linking to you, it doesn't quite, it's not the perfect mix for gaining those good rankings. Backlinks are a sign of trust and authority on a subject. Our recommendations. So how do you boost and build up your authority? To rank higher in search engines, you need to focus on gaining quality backlinks. A few high quality backlinks can be more powerful than 1,000 low quality backlinks. So by low quality, we mean possibly small local directories that anybody could submit to. There's plenty out there. We're not saying don't do it. It's good to have those in the mix, but we should be aiming for a balance between rich sources and those lower quality backlinks. But how do you gain them? So some fruitful activities to invest time in include PR activities. So sending out news articles and getting a link back from another source. You can cross-reference your referring domains list with other high-ranking competitors. So when we say referring domains, that's the actual website linking to you. We have created a tool that allows us to run this, but there are things out there that you can use as well, such as SEMrush and Ahrefs. You can interact on forums. So this does take time, as many forums require you to build up a profile before you can start posting. But if you could naturally get comments and links back from forums, that's also fantastic. And there will be plenty out there for each industry. Some may be harder to find than others. Gaining backlinks from a client's website, if it's applicable. So in the web design industry, it may be that we could get links back from a client for our portfolio, for example. It could be that you've got a blog on a client's website, which links to the next point. So if you can get blog links, that's perfect. Social networking posts as well. So if you can create content that's got shareable qualities, that's a link back to the website, and it's even more fantastic if you can create copy or content that goes viral. Another option is running competitions as well. So there's plenty of competition forums and websites out there. Not sure if anyone's familiar with the word Compass, but it's a giant community, so you can tap into that. There's also closed groups on social networks where you can share competitions and gain links back. And there's also affiliate marketing, which is a form of paid advertising. So for anyone who's unfamiliar with affiliate marketing, we've just got a bit of a summary now. So in short, affiliates earn a commission for any sale that's generated as a result of traffic from their websites. So affiliates could be forum owners, it could be bloggers, it could be influencers, or even cashback websites. But basically, having an affiliate program can help to gain inbound links, as it gives website owners an incentive to advertise your website. It's a bit of a I scratch your back, you scratch mine almost. So that's just a few ideas there for gaining more backlinks and enhancing your outreach. It is time consuming, there's a lot there, but if you break it down into a strategy, it is manageable and certainly achievable over a period of time. Any final thoughts? So again, SEO takes time and effort. So creating relevant, rich content which is optimized for users and search engines takes time, effort, and careful planning. So we don't just mean create one strong landing page and one blog and then that's it. We need to be, adding regular content to the website, which is rich, it's fresh, it's relevant to the topic. Link building, as I said as well, can also be time consuming and can sometimes also cost. But again, it's that balance. There's lots of opportunities out there. It just depends on your industry and how much time you can allocate to that as well. We're often asked how long it will take to see results, but it's almost impossible to answer. You can ask anyone in the industry and they can't give you a definitive answer, as it depends on a lot of factors. But for any campaign, no matter how big or small the site may be, or how competitive the marketplace is, improving your relevance, authority, and ensuring that Google can crawl your site is hugely vital and will definitely have a positive impact on your rankings. And I'd like to say thank you for your time. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A section. And hopefully you've gained some useful points from the talk. You can also follow us on social media or email directly if you've got any questions in the future.
Hi Beth, you okay?
Good, thank you.
Fantastic, that was great. Just want to alert everybody to the Q&A at the bottom. So if anybody does have any questions for Beth before we go today, if you could just pop them down in the Q&A now for me. We've already got some questions. Am I right to start, Beth?
Yeah, that's fine.
Brilliant. So I don't know whether you've answered some of these, so just wanted to check. So Adrian just says, how can you find out what search terms people are using to find your services?
Hi, Adrian. I'd recommend using tools such as SEMrush or Ahrefs. So basically, in addition to searching for specific terms, like we did in the presentation for Web Design Company, we could see the search volume per month. You can also run your own URL through SEMrush and Ahrefs, and that will generate a report on what you're currently ranking for, what could be improved, but that also comes with data such as search volumes and keyword difficulties. So that's probably a good starting point. But then also just completing some keyword research and competitor research initially to identify potential questions or keywords that you would like to rank for. And from that point, it's about analysing the search volumes to see if they'd be worth investing in, if they'd be fruitful. I hope that helps.
Just notice agents just put thank you. And can you repeat the second tool you mentioned?
So there's Ahrefs and SEMrush. So they both essentially offer the same tools. It's just two different insights, really.
Well, so Samantha's just said, hi, really useful, thank you. What do you find is the best way to show worth ROI of digital marketing SEO on a non-retail website, e.g. web traffic growth, content page completions?
I think it depends on the overall goal, but a first point would be traffic, I imagine, to see over time. I don't know how long this campaign may have been running, but over time, how has that traffic progressed? Maybe looking at year-on-year comparisons, but also if we've got any goals or events set up in analytics, for example, you can see how many contact form completions have been made over that period. I think it's just taking a step back and first looking at that initial data. Whereas if we were looking at a retail site, you could look at conversion rates, but depending on the site, I'd probably start with web traffic on that one.
Well,
if you've not got analytics, if you've not got analytics set up, I'd highly recommend getting that data, as it's once the code's installed on the site, it's there, and you're always tracking, and you can sort of benchmark progress.
Well, Jill's just said, how often does Google search for new content? Is there a best time frame to be updating a site?
So Google regularly crawls the web and will recrawl your website often. If you've got Search Console set up, you can request a crawl. So we talked about the XML sitemap earlier. So if you resubmit that sitemap, Google will recrawl it. So you can request crawling, but generally it's always crawling with the web. There's no specific time frame, but it will keep refreshing and looking at your content.
Well, fantastic, Bethany. Pascal, so we will be recording this, so it is going to be on our webinar library on the Staffordshire Chamber of Commerce site if you do want to re-watch it. But what we'll do is we'll get the slides from Bethany, if you're okay with that, Bethany.
Yeah, it's fine.
And just send those out should you wish to have them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Adrian's just asked again, can a DIY approach to SEO do more harm than good?
That's a tricky question. I think if you know and understand SEO and know what you're doing, then you can do some good. But I think you need to ensure that you truly understand the different factors and the implications of any changes that you may make on the site, as it's quite easy to do harm. But for anyone, I'd start with an initial point of saying you need to audit where you're currently at. So a technical audit, a content audit, a backlink audit. And from that point, that highlights what changes you need to make, and you can organise them in terms of which will be most fruitful against how long they take. DIY I'm not so keen on. You've just got to be careful and make sure you understand SEO and the broader picture of it.
Yeah, of course. So it looks like we've done all the questions. I'll just give some just to give everybody 1 more minute, just in case there are any more questions that we've got today.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that went really quick. Thank you. Glad that it's been useful for people.
Well,
I've seen the chat pop up as well.
Yeah, that's fine. So there doesn't look like there's any more questions. So I think that's it, Bethany. So like I said, everyone that's attended today, you will be able to find a recording of it on our Staffordshire Chamber of Commerce website, and any of the other webinars that we've done will also be on our library as well, which you can find on our website. Bethany, I want to thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it, and you've done a great job, and it was really, really informative, and hopefully we look forward to seeing you very, very soon.
Yeah, I'd love to. Again, if anyone's got any questions after this, please feel free to tweet at Netbiz Group or email me directly as well. So, thank you for listening, everyone.
Stay safe, everyone.
Stay safe. Thank you.